Up next on Inside ChampCar, a look back at the sunset at PBIR, 8 hour, and a chat with Kimmie Hendricks. Welcome to Inside ChampCar. He is
Bill Strong.
I'm Brian Bielanski. This week, I'll recap everything from a very special event at Palm Beach International Raceway. We'll also catch up with Kimberlee or Kimmie or Kim Hendricks. She says she'll answer to all of those, but we found out that she doesn't like Steve.
She'll answer to anything. I said Steve, and she said no.
No. Anyway, she's the driver and president of Hendricks Motorsports. Not that Hendricks Motorsports, the other one. I've used that show twice now, or at least I will by the time you're done with this. Anyway, what a great conversation, Bill.
Yeah, that was pretty good. She's a heck of a young lady and is taking on an absolute ton. I've taken on a lot. I'm not even close to that.
Yeah, no. She's got multitasking down to a T here. So
yeah.
We're also going to give you a tech tip, a very good tech tip. They're all good tech tips, by the way, Bill. I should not just say and then we will talk about the national championship in the Ozarks. So let's not forget about that. That's a big one coming up here in a week and a half or a week from now, whenever you listen to this. All right, so I slipped and called it PBR because, of course, I grew up in Wisconsin, and Pabst Blue Ribbon is always on my mind.
Well, that was the beer of ChampCar as well when Doc Waldrop was around.
Nice.
So PBR was just,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So
either that or Busch beer,
anything,
or I don't know, just
cold
any of the cheaps. If it was beer, it was in Doc's hand. So
my favorite beer is Free.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was Doc too. So yeah.
All right. So Palm Beach International Raceway, the final race.
Oh my gosh!
You just got home.
Yeah, just a couple hours. Actually, about an hour ago.
Yeah.
It was billed as the last race there.
Yeah.
We talked about this last week where, the contracts,
Yep.
The track is sold, folks. It's sold. It's gone. Let's just say that, you have stands and things there, buildings, they have stairs going up them. All those stairs are cut off. I mean, sliced off. You can't get up in anything except for the tower. And I'll bet you anything you'll go there today, it'll be cut away. But yeah, it's a changed track from what it was the last time we were there. We had drag racing going on one side. Nothing was out there. We had our race, and pretty much people were ready to lock up. I'm pretty certain that we weren't allowed to do certain things because the current owners were afraid something would happen or whatever. So we had some restrictions on what we couldn't have anybody in overnight, that kind of stuff. So, but everything went perfect. We only messed up a tire bundle or two, but nothing bad.
They're not going to need
and we did have Ed, Ed Steinhoff in the Shark car did get into a crash towards the end of the race, and it did mess the car up pretty bad. Driver's perfectly okay. Good. But the cars might be toast. Ed though, he thinks everything's the worst. He'll figure out some way to get a bigger hammer and make it
exactly.
Yeah, bring it back. But one hell of a race. We had President Motorsports. These guys started out racing with 24 Hours of Lemons at the Miami Grand Prix, which was at this racetrack, which is in Palm Beach, not near Miami, but they call it the Miami 24 Hour.
Right.
And I was at that race, and the Floridians, they did okay there. And of course, like all of us, none of us had any clue what we were doing at that time. They have been trying with ChampCar to win. They've come close many, many times. And guess what?
They did it.
The last race at the first race they ever ran at, the track they ever ran at, they win. And they won it by 1.530 seconds.
Wow. There's some serendipity in that.
Yes, it is so close. For most of the beginning part of the race, we had another star, Kevin Smith from KSR Racing, with his flat out car. He has sold that car, which is a Lexus SC300, to what's his name? Come on. I just had it in my head. I'm getting old, man. Cletus McFarland. Thank you. Thank you very much,
It's
Brian.
hard not to remember the name
yes.
Cletus, by the way.
I know. Cletus McFarland. He owns a track up in the Gainesville area, somewhere up there. He bought like last year or something, or maybe 2 years ago, a little circle track, and he's turned that thing into just this amazing sports palace up there, man. They do all kinds of crazy stuff, drifting, and they have this big race up there where all these YouTube stars go up and they race Chevy Impalas, I think they are, some Chevy something, you know, the old cop cars. They just race them in circles and just have a blast, and they get a zillion YouTubers watching them. So I think I posted up that my you know, who was there, and my daughter, or it might have been my wife, is that who Ian has his YouTube crush on? And I'm like, yeah, it's funny. But yeah, Ian's up every morning watching his stuff, and they put out a lot of content. And Kevin from KSR as well, he's getting pretty big as well. So they showed up, they led for I want to say more than half the race until the battery started shorting out. Something happened to the battery and it was taking out electronics, so they just pulled it over and called it quits. What's in sorry, can we edit this?
Sure.
Okay, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, so they pulled the car over.
I'm not going to.
I know, but you're not going to.
We can.
I'm very tired. It's but right. They ended up you know, pulling the car off track and in the paddock, and they went home, and that was it. But that left the door open for the Floridians and Blue Steel. Blue Steel was, I believe, a new car from Valerian Steel.
Okay.
And Valerian Steel's done quite well in our series, and they brought a second car out. It's green and white with a white top on it, and oh my goodness, that thing kicked butt. Even though it says it was blue. No, that was a blue. I'm sorry, Blue Steel was a blue one. I'm thinking of a different car now. Sorry. But they 1.5 seconds. So towards the end, the driver of the Blue Steel car said that another Miata was trying to push him along down the straightaway to kind of help gain speed, which I guess is code for bump drafting.
Could be. I've never. I don't know what that is, but sounds interesting.
Probably illegal, whatever they did. You know, especially in Florida, you're not allowed to do anything like that over there anymore. But you know, bump drafting and sorry,
only if you're in first or second grade.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So perfect. But it's but yeah, they were bump drafting. They said the Floridians, they had them on the straightaways, couldn't catch them, but in the corners they could catch up. And they tried, man, and lap after lap come down to Floridians. And those guys were just insanely happy. So much so, one of the driver's mother took a Gatorade bucket and dumped ice water on him. The bad part about that, there wasn't much water in it. It was mostly ice cubes and chunks.
Ouch.
Yes.
That's like walking out in a hailstorm.
Yes, exactly. It was so funny. He's like, and my mom did it. But yeah, it was funny.
That's pretty cool.
A lot of people on pit lane happy. The marathon coach guys, they'd had some tech issues in the past, and it was so funny. They finished third place overall. Their car 100% legal, and Dana walked up and says, "But," and the faces on there was classic, like, "Oh crap, what happened now?" You know, but he just starts laughing, said, "Nothing. You guys are good." So. But yeah, how to mess with a team.
Nice.
Yeah, marathon coach finished third with Start Racing in their 99 Miata in fourth. The Rotary Rocketeers, and they were always back and forth up there too. Open Throttle Racing in sixth. Valerian Steel's Miata in the other Miata in seventh. Avenue Garage in eighth, Top Garage in ninth, and Subpar Racing's Volkswagen Golf in 10th. And a lot of big names finished behind everybody. And like I said, this was a fun race. People ran cleanly. They stayed away from the walls for the most part. There were some incidents early on. We had the 60s Mustang and I want to say a 90s Firebird kind of come together on the front straightaway. Epic save by both racers to keep it out of the wall. One went towards the pit lane wall, and the other one went to the right side wall, the Mustang. And there was just a lot of torn up grass, and but no wall damage and no car damage.
There you go. Can I just say how impressed I am, by the way? A Tuesday race 40 cars.
Yeah. Yeah, it was insane. It was like half of Florida wasn't working that day.
I got to tell you, when you told me whatever it was, 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, that you all were going to do this, I said to myself, "There's no one's going to show up."
Yeah,
40 cars. That's pretty awesome.
I'll tell you, the Floridians, the people in the South take racing seriously. It's like, work, racing, hell yeah, I'm there.
Absolutely. Work. All right, so let's hear from the Floridians in Victory Lane. This is my good man Bill here doing his thing, and these are the guys and gals who won the final race ever at Palm Beach International Raceway.
Sunset at Palm Beach International Raceway. We have the winner, Floridians, of the last endurance any race here at Palm Beach International Raceway, and it's the Floridians, man. You guys have worked hard and hard and hard for this, and you win your home race. How was that?
It was our first win for ChampCar.
Yep.
And,
12 years of trying.
Years ago, our first race for this car with Lemons here at this track.
The 24-hour? I was here for that too.
Yeah. That was the first race.
Exact same car. This car's been running for 12 years.
Wow.
It's been rebuilt a couple times, but it's the same car.
This part's the same.
Yeah, that part's the same.
That's new Bondo.
Oh yeah, it's new Bondo.
So snuck up there at the end, and just what, 1.5 seconds or something like that?
Yeah, it was about that. Yeah.
Were you scared to death?
Yes, we were doing a lot of math on pit stops, keeping an eye on the other Miata, seeing what they were going to do, and watching them after a couple of race starts on the full course cautions, and seeing how they were going to negotiate with traffic. And Jason managed to hold everybody off.
So Jason, you said you got out of the car and you're like, holy cow.
Yeah, I can't believe it. We've been trying this forever. I mean, we've been talking to you guys for how many years now? So.
And always at, the third or fourth or second.
Yep. It finally came through. The Infinity broke, so.
A lot of cars broke.
There's a lot of attrition today. It was hot.
That was one of Ed's drivers. Is he okay?
I don't know. I was at another part of the track.
Okay,
so
we had our hands full.
Yeah.
Hope everybody is okay there, obviously.
So what'd you do, man?
Oh. Hey, we all three put in some really good effort here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we had flawless pit stops.
So did
strategy
crew as well. We were just driving.
Strategy came together and a little luck.
Yep.
So who are your team members here? Name them off.
So this is Brian, Jason, I'm Charlie. We got Robin, Donna.
Got the whole crew.
And we got the whole crew here.
We had a few that aren't here anymore, had to run, of course.
Yeah. So tell us a little about the car.
1985 Porsche 944, normally aspirated, with a homebrew turbo setup off of a Dodge or something. A China.
It's off of a boat from China.
There you go.
Boat from China.
So the really cool part about that is we rarely have D-class cars win, and guess what?
We won.
There you go. All right, guys, congratulations, winning the last race here at PBIR. Floridians, home track, where they started. Unfortunately, where it's going to end for this track, but
it won't end for us.
Man, that's awesome. Forever in infamy.
Forever in infamy.
All right, guys, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's the winners from the last race ever at Palm Beach International Raceway.
And the last time I'll ever have microphone issues.
I don't
at
believe
that track.
At that track, thank you. But it sounded great. You see, the thing is, there's a masterful audio technician in the house, and it worked out great. Worked out.
We ended up taking that from the camera feed when I did the video.
Had you not said a word, I wouldn't have been able to pick on you, and no one would have been the wiser.
Oh, that's all right. They know. I mean, it's just something is going to be screwed up.
All right. So, anything else before we head on to our tech tip here, my friend?
No, I mean, it was a great day. The Floridians are always known for their furniture in pit lane. They have this absolutely sweet couch they bring with it. It's tattooed with Floridians all over it, and it's the most comfortable couch on pit lane always.
Is it the only couch on pit lane?
Sometimes not.
Okay.
But it is the most comfortable. So guys bring van seats in there, big truck seats.
Right.
all kinds, but theirs is actually from, it looks like somebody's grandmother's house.
So when I get my chance to do this for the first time, I have to really up my pit lane lounging game.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I do a lot of the interviewing of the racers, moms and grandparents
Yes.
in that couch. So
Okay.
it's always fun.
So is it that the people who have the best accommodations, are those the ones that get the most airtime?
Yeah. Yeah. And with the moms and girlfriends in pit lane. So yes.
Yeah. I hear you play well with the grandma set.
Yes, I do. Yes.
I think I should hit this button. All right. Tech tip
Today's
time.
tech tip.
Today's tech tip is pretty cool and a very smart one, I'll have to say.
Shock collars for Bill Strong.
Shock collars.
Oh, wait, did I say? No, I have that wrong. Yeah. These are collars that you little round things with holes in the middle that you stick around the roll bar over by your seatbelt, your harness belts. And we've been doing this for, I think, 2 years now. Tech has kind of required them or some sort of apparatus to keep your belts from spreading apart. And a lot of folks, including me, and I'm saying this as not an employee of ChampCar, which I am an employee of ChampCar. Well, I am today. Who knows about tomorrow? But it was one of those things like, what the heck are they trying to do now? There's a time there's some of the rules you just look at them and just go, really, But this is a good one.
Okay.
And after doing research and going, okay, and seeing why we're doing it.
Sure.
So ChampCar, we have, cars from like an Opel GT from the 70s. We have Miatas with a different cage design. Sometimes the guys will make this bend in the belt bar, so it gives them room to move the seat back for the larger fellas or taller fellas, and then or people, I should say. And then so you have this curve on the bar, and let's say if your belt moves around, you're getting in the car,
right?
Things move and jostle, and they get put, the belt's not 100% behind you. And
sure,
we don't check that stuff. Get that guy and get his belt on and get him out of here. So we've seen where those belts don't align right. And, we've had some accidents where the belt has come loose a bit. So we've figured out, well, they're not staying on the bars back there. So the easiest way to do it is just maybe tell everybody, hey, put a collar on here. It's part of good race car building.
Right.
Put these little circular things or something to keep the belts together.
Right.
So this is basically two paragraphs, real short, that explain what these do. These collars prevent your shoulder harness belts from sliding apart on the bar, causing them to slide off of your shoulders. The inside edges of your shoulder belt should be positioned no more than 3 inches apart on the harness bar for maximum performance and safety. This is particularly important when you use a Hans device. And when I say Hans device, I'm saying that generically, it's the frontal head restraint device.
Right.
FHRs is what they're called now. Not Hans is a brand name. So I looked around. Of course, there's all kinds of these circular collars on the internet, sold on it by racing device companies for $50, $60, $70, $80 for two, or just some typical racing prices.
Yeah.
And then I went down McMaster Car. Guess how much?
How much?
$12.
$12
for one collar for a 1.5 inch bar.
Nice.
So, and the smaller like Miatas and the Opel will use a 1.5. The larger cars, the heavier cars will use a 1 3/4 or 2 inch bar.
Right.
So they have those available for those as well.
Cool.
And they run $12-15 each, and super easy to install. And there's another way too that we've done at the track. Put a hose clamp over your over that area, and then just duct tape the heck out of it so that it doesn't move.
Yeah, there's more than one way.
That helps. Yeah, there's many ways of doing it. Yeah. Some guys weld in these little they take a, what do you call that? like 1/4-inch rod
Uh-huh.
and bend it, and then make the little loop so it doesn't, your seatbelt doesn't move around that
Yeah.
way, and just weld it on. That works really good.
Yeah, I'm
But,
looking at a really fancy pair.
Yeah.
They're $80 for a pair.
Yeah.
They look like they're billet aluminum. And as a matter of fact, they are billet aluminum because it says so.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, and couple looks like a couple of Allen bolts to secure it on there, but yeah, there's more than one way to do it. It makes perfect sense,
Yep.
and then you're not relying on the quality of the seat that you've got to make sure the little holes in the seat that the seatbelts go through. If you have a hard enough side impact, I can imagine that could you could have a failure there. It's just another level of safety, and it's like when everyone asks me, what kind of helmet should I buy, and I'm like, the most expensive one you can afford.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And sadly we've seen some really bad accidents that have been the result of bad accidents and bad outcomes from accidents that have been the result of maybe not properly putting your seatbelts together. So,
well, that leads into another part too, and this is not just part of the tech tip, but just a safety tip. So we were at Daytona a couple of weeks ago, and we had a car come through that had some, questionable stuff on it, but it was an older build from a long time ago, made for another series, which shall be renamed, not named. But it had passed tech somewhere along the line, and we get it, and the belts are in date, but and fairly new, but the way they mounted the belts was very questionable, and I could not, on my pre-inspection up the line, I couldn't say yes or no on those belts, so I had to bring in the real tech guys, and they just immediately said no, and the reasoning was that they had actually hard mounted the belt, the lap belts to the floor, and the little bracket that you slide the belts through, that was actually squeezing the belt between the door sill and the bracket.
Okay, that's not good.
It wasn't on there long enough to really do anything, but you could already see the belt deteriorating from the stress on it. It was already starting to fray.
Right.
So they want, when you install belts, the FIA and the SFI have a reason to actually put them on swivels,
right?
Either mounted to the floor, or
right.
If you do just bolt the brackets, they have to be using bolts with sleeves so that they can move.
Exactly.
And there's a way that they're supposed to tension too. This guy had it flat with the belt coming off of it like that, when it should have been like that,
well,
horizontal.
And honestly, in endurance racing, I'm guessing a lot of your teams have seats that are on sliders. It's extremely important if you have an adjustable seat, because if that seat moves up and back, depending on who's in the car, having that seat belt on a swivel allows the seat belt lap belt to actually be in the proper orientation so that it can do its job properly.
Because when it's bunched, it will actually bunch up in that bracket.
Right.
And
so
I actually saw that twice on 2 cars. One still had a bracket that was swiveling. It just didn't swivel enough.
Right.
The belt, when you pull the seat all the way back and the driver was in it, I said, well, buckle up. And you could see the belt just go to cinch, and that reduces the strength of that belt.
Right. And it also ends up being a tear
Yes,
point.
A tear point, which is, I think, something that happened with Earnhardt.
I believe, I don't want to disparage anybody or anything, but I believe that may have been what happened there. And so if you got a guy like me who's got 26-inch legs, and you've got a guy like Bill who's got like 40-inch legs, you need to be able to have that belt swivel, because it's not going to work the same for Bill as it is for me. So no, makes perfect sense. Cool.
But yeah, there's a lot of science behind these belts, and I know there's a lot of folks that give a lot of kickback at what we require, but we've seen a lot. We've been doing this for 12 years in this series.
Yep.
And we see a lot of good, and we see a lot of bad, and we see a lot of questionable. So I know now I think our folks have enough experience to where they're saying, hey, we'd like you to do it this way. And I know folks say, well, such and such allowed this. It's been passing this racing series for 40 years. Why are you guys suddenly changing? Well, it's not just us, it's everybody's changing, and you can see it in the rule books for all the other series, and they're really getting strict on the rules.
Yep.
I'm glad our board of directors has stepped up to address this stuff, and we want you guys, we're just all
We want everybody to go home.
We're regular guys, and we all have regular jobs.
Yep.
And we want you to be there on Monday morning.
That's right. That's right. So, I mean, there was a time when we didn't wear helmets racing either. So,
We had to,
there's an
everything
evolution.
changes. There was a time when
evolution.
you had to change the timing on your car mechanically on your steering wheel.
Timing?
Who does that nowadays?
What's that?
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. Anything else before we head out of here?
No, I just can't wait to talk to Kimmie. She was, I think she sounds like she's going to be a really fun person to talk to. We've already.
What do you
talked
mean?
to her,
Sounds
but,
like.
Yeah,
We-
she was pretty awesome.
No, it was a great conversation,
Yeah.
one that you will not want to miss. So we are going to do that next. It's Kimmie Hendricks. She is our guest this week on Inside ChampCar. We'll do that right after this short break. I'm Brian. He's Bill. We'll be back in a second.
Every race weekend, you don't know what's going to happen. But with ChampCar.live, all the action comes right into your living room. The ChampCar Endurance Series is North America's home to real competitive endurance road racing. And ChampCar.live brings you live, full race coverage with in-car, trackside cameras, interviews, and expert commentary. And ChampCar.live brings you live, full race coverage with in-car and trackside cameras, interviews, and expert commentary. Check out ChampCar.live on the web, subscribe, and ring the bell so as not to miss a single minute of the action. It's fun, free, informative, and it's just a click away. ChampCar.live. Come check us out. We bring you a front row seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Welcome back to Inside ChampCar. I'm Brian Bielanski. He's
Bill Strong.
Yeah, that's you, Bill. That's when you're supposed to talk. We're back after a great chat about Palm Beach International Raceway, and now we're being joined by Kimberlee Hendricks. She is the driver and president of Hendricks Motorsports. Not that Hendricks Motorsports, the other one. And you've never heard that before, right?
Yeah, it depends who's asking.
So thanks for being with us. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. And Bill knows you well. I do not. I was looking at your resume, and it is hardcore. How did you get messed up with this crazy thing we call racing? I bet you I know the answer, but go for it.
Yeah, I was born into it. 4 months old, Rolex 24. I was actually baptized at Daytona Speedway during 24 hours.
Oh, wow. You've got one up on me.
So it was, I grew up with it. My dad's been racing since like the 70s, and he had a shop of his own for about 35 years, and he worked with a lot of other IMSA teams. And I remember as like a child, I would sit behind the cold side of the fence on pit road, and I was like crying because I wanted so badly to be on the hot side, being
funny.
So it was just, I just grew up in this world, and who would have guessed that I would have stuck with it.
I know. That's fantastic.
Now,
go ahead.
Now,
Bill.
not only did your family race, but they race Mazdas, right? RX-7s? Yeah.
That's what my dad got started in, actually.
Ear bleeders.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So always at the track, so you had that baptism of literally baptism of motorsports, which I love. I that's fantastic. So when did you actually start doing stuff on the car? What age was that
So I guess it depends to what level. So I know when I was 6 years old, there was a news article in the Daytona News Journal back in 1999 or so, 1998. And I was actually wiping down a BMW that my dad was working on. So I was always pretty involved with whatever I could do. By the time I basically could drive a car, that's when I started to really, get into the mechanical side of things. And by the time I was 18, I actually was working on building my first race car, which was a 95 Mustang. And my dad pretty much put it to me if you're going to do it, then here's all the tools, go do it.
Nice.
So yeah, so probably about 18. So, yeah.
So
go
ahead.
So in high school, you're in high school, was there an intimidation factor with the boys that, you know, you're doing stuff that's a lot more advanced than they are and at a higher level with the cars?
Yeah. So actually, I had a little bit of a unique education. I was actually homeschooled since 3rd grade. So I went to a special preparatory school, which was like 2 days in school and the rest of the days at home. But even then, I was kind of like the cool girl, not to like brag about it, but my dad really enjoyed dropping me off on certain days in the muscle cars that he was working on, test driving them, you know. So it was interesting. Yeah, people were definitely pretty intimidated. I definitely didn't get asked on a lot of dates because of it.
It's good stuff. That's good stuff. So it wasn't Dad sitting there with a 30-30 on the front porch. That wasn't the intimidation factor. It was the fact that you were just cooler than all the guys.
Well, actually, my dad makes jokes about that because I'm actually a 2nd degree black belt and I was a martial arts instructor through my teenage years.
I saw that at the bottom of the resume.
Yeah.
So actually, he would always make that joke like, I don't need a shotgun. She's got her own. They're going to worry about me.
That's awesome. So when was the first time driving the car?
I was 20.
Okay.
20 at Daytona. It was August, the first weekend of August, and I cried my eyes out when I went up out of turn 6 at Daytona. I went onto the banking for the first time. I cried. It was such a magical moment.
Was it a track day or like an HPDE or just you were racing?
So, actually, you know what? I shouldn't say that. That was an actual like first time in a race.
Okay.
I did HPDE stuff in my first car, which was a Veloster Turbo.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that actually at Roebling. And my instructor, you know, it was pretty funny. It was at a PCA event, or PBOC, I'm sorry. And the instructor was like, you know, they asked, who's been here before? And I didn't raise my hand. Who's not been here? Who's never driven before? And then, Dan Doyle was my instructor. And he's like, Dan, you're going to have her. So I'm sure running through his head was, oh boy, a girl at the first time. Oh no, here we go. So he even still to this day makes jokes about it, that like I went straight to smooth and then I was passing Corvettes and Porsches and a little 4-cylinder Hyundai Turbo.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. So
very much so. Very much so. So that first time at Daytona, because I remember my first Daytona experience, and when you come up through that tunnel and you realize you're not going through that tunnel as a spectator, because I'd been to Daytona as a journalist. So I covered the 500 a couple times. And then I went there as a driver. And it was like, and I'd been through that tunnel before. But for some reason, when you go through it knowing you're about to put on a helmet and put on the gloves, it's a whole different deal, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's actually kind of almost intimidating a little bit, because especially if you've done a track walk, like what they do before the Rolex 24, where you can walk. You don't realize that you're literally like this.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a little bit intimidating. Then you kind of get over that feeling. But yeah, it's definitely very special.
Yeah.
I thought we had it really good up until the first corner, and then I realized we couldn't see out the banner. You had that Racing Strong banner across the top of my MR2's window, and I didn't know about the notch that you're supposed to put in it, and I went into the corner blind, could not see anywhere.
So,
yes, exactly.
Bill, you don't take turn 1 any better when you can see, though. So what's happened?
That's true. But that first, you think you're all, I'm going to win this thing. I'm a Mario Andretti out here. And yeah, that wasn't the first great thing I did at that track.
It's a humbling track.
Yeah.
It is.
So
Absolutely.
So your first race there, how did that go?
It went good. For a first race, it really went good. I crashed on the second race, but I did pretty good.
Yeah.
450 horsepower coming out of a, little 4-cylinder. It's a pretty big leap, but yeah, it went all really, really good.
So your first race was a 450 horsepower car,
Mhm.
and we have folks that can barely do 100, maybe 90 horsepower, and they have issues. And your first race is wow.
So what was that car?
Hey, what's that?
What was that car?
Oh, so it was a 95 Mustang.
Okay.
I built a 347 stroker for it. Yeah.
You built it. So explain how much of that work you did on that car, because you were 20, right?
Yeah. Yes, I was 18. So I actually did probably 98% of the work.
Okay.
I took a crashed car. I bought it for like $500 and pretty much rebuilt the whole front core support, welded it all together, I bought a roll bar kit from Kirk and welded all that together, fitted it, did all my dash, did all my own wiring, rebuilt the engine, did all the machine work, because luckily, I grew up in this. So thankfully my dad had all the tools and
Nice.
machines. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got completely immersed into the industry.
Pretty awesome. So from there, I mean, I see so much stuff that we could talk about, and we can go on and on and on and on. I see Spirit of Daytona. That's an IMSA team. You were with them for a couple of years, it looks like. Grand Am Viper team, Porsche BMW car chief. You're doing things that women don't typically get a chance to do in this business. How'd you make all that happen?
Well, I'm really fortunate, to obviously kind of had a head start on a lot of that. And I think that's kind of what gives me a lot of the opportunities is, it started with the Viper program. So my dad was the crew chief for that, and he's not the greatest at computers. And I kind of had like a quick tutorial of how to run Motec and analyze data and all that. And then the owner of the car is like, hey, she's kind of pretty. Let's put her in a really tight suit and send her out there to look pretty on the car. And I'm like, okay. So it's just kind of one opportunity rolled into another. Again, with Spirit Daytona, my dad was friends with Troy Fliss since Troy started racing. He even built engines for Troy back in the old days, and they needed some tire people that they could trust and would do a good job, pay attention. And I took that opportunity, and then I had the pleasure to work with David Twatty for quite a few years with the BMWs and the Porsches, doing the whole Farah craziness down in Miami. And then it just I did my own thing for a while, and it kind of rolled me into some new stuff that I'm doing today.
Now you just opened up a new, I want to say, factory next to the airport where you build cars and engines. I was speaking to your dad at Daytona, and he said you guys are pretty overwhelmed with the amount of engine work that you're doing.
We are. I have probably at least 20 to 30 engines in the shop right now, somewhere in progress or in the queue. It's crazy how much machine shop is needed, especially a precision high performance engine building shop. It really is. But it's awesome.
And you're involved with the day-to-day business. I mean, just everything. It's your company, right?
Yes, that's correct. So my father, beginning of the year, turned over the entire company to me. So now he gets to go boating during the week while I stay in the office. I haven't even been on it. My grandfather bought a new boat, and everybody, even my employees, have been on the boat except for me.
You. Oh, that's funny. That's not funny, but
yes, it is funny, but not.
So how do you juggle all of that? I mean, you now at what's a remarkably young age for anybody. You're now running your entire machine shop, engine building service. You're still driving. It's a lot for anybody to do. What's a day in the life of Kimmie like?
A lot of work. You just
went to Sonoma too, right?
I did. So actually, I'm working for a couple of teams this year as well. as my business, juggling all of that, I'm also working with Tony Ave with the LMP3 program. I'm working with Smooth Racing with 4 Toyota Supras for the SRO. And then I'm also, I just signed on with HP Tech out of Miami for the Ferrari Challenge as a mechanic. So I have a lot of stuff I am juggling, but you know, it's not work when you love what you do. And that's just kind of how I am. I live by doing what I love, and I'm surrounded by a lot of people that support me in every aspect of my life. Like if I need laundry done, my mom will go to my house and do my laundry because I'm not home, or take care of my dog. So you know, it's really fulfilling to live a life of your passion.
That's awesome. I'm looking at this. 58 sprint race starts, 39 wins. That's a 56 or 57% win percentage.
Right.
And I'm Polish. That's in my head. I'm doing those numbers, so it may even be better than that. But and then 13 starts, 3 wins on the endurance racing side. Any endurance racing win, I don't care how many starts, is impressive. And I mean, there's a list of accolades. Florida's Central Florida class champion twice, 2007 Southeast SARC Championship. I ran the SARC Championship many years ago. I don't care what class you're in. That takes some skill right there. Just such good stuff here. What's the? I love the stories. So, you know, give us a good story of one of your racing stories out there that you kind of always like when you're sitting around the table. We're bench racing here. Give us one good story here.
Of me driving, it probably had to have been, I had set a track record at Sebring long course. And it was a really hard race. I had several people in my class, and of course I'm running with all the GT1 cars, the faster cars than, you know, my Mustang and all that. So it was pretty hectic. It was really close racing between me and 2 other guys. And I remember I was battling just for 6 or 7 hard laps, and it was hard. And I just remember I just kept digging and I felt total calmness, like totally calm, like I was floating, you know, like that saying, like, you know, float like a bee, sing like a beaver type of thing. So that's how I felt. Like that feeling just washed over me those laps, and I never felt like that before. And when I got out of the car, everybody was, you know, everybody came surrounding my car in the impound area. And I remember getting out of the car, and I just, you know, I'm not a crying type person, like, but it was like such satisfaction of, I knew that I ran such a flawless race. And then I found out that I beat the track record by like 6 seconds for my class.
Wow.
And I was like, what? I just couldn't believe it. And, you know, it was such a smooth race. And what the funny part of that is that just the race prior to that one, I had quite a weird incident. I was going down into turn 7, and I had been battling with an upper class car at the time, and my steering wheel came off. Like it popped right off. And I remember grabbing a hold of the spline, hitting my brakes hard, and turning the car just to barely miss the guardrail. And I radioed my dad and said, my steering wheel came off. I couldn't believe my steering wheel popped off. So I forgot and away I went. So it was an interesting weekend for sure. But yeah. I've never experienced such a calmness mentally and physically. It was just a cool feeling. I hope everybody gets to experience that, you know. So
Kimberlee, do you have anybody out there that really guides you, not from a male perspective, from a female perspective? Because there are a lot of women in racing. And I know with like Shift Up Now going on and other folks out there. I mean, Denise McCluggage was a racer back in the 50s and 60s, or maybe even earlier than that. No, 50s and 60s, and basically did a lot of the things that you're doing now. But it's something that we don't really see as much now as we used to. I mean, do you have people that have guided you or helped guide you?
I can't really say I've had like a female idol. There isn't many females that are kind of dabbling in every aspect of this industry. So I can't really say I have someone that's guided me on the female end of it. There is some amazing women out there, and on the driving side, I'll just use recent women like Catherine Legg, Christina Nielsen. Those two, they really inspire me to try to get into a pro level of racing on the driver's side of it. But it's hard, as you know, and that's why I'm getting into it on the team side of it, so I can develop a team and race for myself.
I mean, you have a lot of fans too. Chelsea Vickery being one of them, who's our event director for ChampCar. And she likes watching you.
Her too. She doesn't let the guys walk all over.
Nope, not at all.
The timing of this conversation is interesting because today Lynn St. James and Beth Peretta announced that they've launched a nonprofit called Women in Motorsports North America, excuse me, with the idea of being a resource and bringing women together who are in the industry to help cultivate and bring along more women into the industry. And I would think that we've got to get you all connected up together because I look at what you're doing and you belong in that group.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Yeah.
Now, one of the other things that is that's happened with ChampCar is that we've had a lot of families involved with ChampCar, and the men are out there doing the cars and stuff, and sometimes the women are off the sideline and they got together and all of a sudden, boom, they're building a car and racing a car. And we've had many teams over the years like that. I mean, Tiffany Alexander's one of them who's on the board of directors for ChampCar. She did the same thing. Her husband was out there racing. So she'd been doing HPDEs, and next thing you know, they've got a team. You've done a bunch of ChampCar races. Have you actually driven in them, or you just supply the cars?
Oh no, I've driven in them. Yeah, I've driven plenty of them. There's a lot of stories to go with that one. Some of them I shouldn't say.
Oh no, you can say them.
Yeah, you can say them. Nobody's listening.
Okay.
It's just the three of us. There's nothing.
Okay.
There's no recorders.
No, okay. So actually, my first ChampCar race was in 2012 with my little Mark 7 at Sebring.
Oh.
Yeah, actually at Sebring, and it was our first race. We were literally late for everything. We were late to tech. We were late to grid. We were late to everything because we didn't know anything about the series. We just said, let's give it a try, and we actually ended up winning a trophy. And we were like going down pit road after we packed up, and we were going by the announcers there, like on your makeshift victory lane, because victory lane wasn't built yet, and we're going right by, and it said, and car number 726 Hendricks Motorsports for the sportsmanship award. And we literally pulled up as they were announcing it. We're pulling up with our golf cart, and we got out of the golf cart, grabbed the trophy, took our picture, and said, well, we are late for everything except for the award.
I do remember that because I was there with Troy Trulio in the biohazard car where we got an award as well. But that was kind of cool that was the good one. There you go.
Oh, I love that. She's showing us the award. I don't know what it is, but it looks cool.
Yeah, it's a robot made out of car parts. Yes. Yeah.
Nice. Little springy feet too.
Yep.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, made out of gears and
valve springs.
So it's really cool.
Yeah. So you can go race anywhere.
Just about.
But you go race with ChampCar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Well, it's a lot more fun, I think. It depends. It depends on what you expect as an end result. So if you want a no pressure just friends, family, get together, race a car, enjoy the experience of being at the racetrack and being a part of a team. That to me, I think, is what ChampCar is really about. And if you go into level racing, now we're serious. Now, like, okay, we're going to the Olympics here. So everybody better have their straight and nobody mess up, because if you do, you're out. So it's a little bit more kind of, you know, cutthroat of a paddock. It's a little bit more intense. Not saying that ChampCar paddock can't get intense, because I'm sure at certain times, but I think I've had a lot of different drivers, some that drove in IMSA previous years, and they just keep coming back. They're like, God, it's so much fun. I can bring my wife, I can bring my dog, I can bring my kids. And it's the people, you know, it's the people, the family, everything.
Now the budget for ChampCar versus IMSA, it's a little different. I mean, not much, but it's a little different.
Oh yeah, well, it's affordable racing, you know.
Yeah.
So like, I got a couple of people involved that are new at Daytona. One of them was one of my employees. He'd been working with me, working with us for 2 years, and it was part of his 2-year anniversary to get him back in a race car. And he'd done a lot of circle track racing and stuff. And I can't begin to tell you, it actually kind of chokes me up because he was so excited to race with you guys. And his family's going to become members. His daughter's about to turn 16 and she wants to drive. So, you know, it's going to turn into a family affair for him, I'm sure, because they did like quarter midgets and stuff like that. So again, yeah, it's, you know, the families. It's affordable. You know, you don't need to buy a $750,000 car or $250,000 car and go race it and wreck it.
That's right. That's right. So I know you've got like 765 motors in the shop ready to be worked on, but if anybody wants to get a hold of you, wants to, you know, get some fantastic service on whatever it is they need, tell people how they can find you and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so you can go on our website, hendricks-motorsports.com. We have pretty much all of our services listed there, as well as a full price list for all those services. You can reach me at my email, which is Kimberlee@hendricks-motorsports.com, or by phone, 407-430-7223, or race. And yeah, we pretty much do everything under the sun, from two-strokes to Hellcat engines to big block blower engines. We kind of do it all.
So a 454 and an Opel GT, you could do that.
I saw you post something like that. But yeah,
I'm sure they can build the motor, but I don't know. There's enough shoehorns out there and to get into the Opel.
I've seen what her family can do when it comes to cars. I think they could accomplish that.
All right. So also, I'm taking a look. I'm an Instagram fanatic, and Go Kimmie 26 is an Instagram follow. I love the cars. Tell me about the dog real quick. You got to talk about the dog.
Of course, Apex. My 9-year-old German Shepherd, naturally Apex. I didn't want one of those cliche racing names like Nitro or Turbo.
I got a Shelby.
Okay, Shelby. That's actually a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, that's the only thing I got to name. I didn't get to name my kid. I didn't get to name anything. I got to name the dog, and I'm like, it's going to be Shelby. I don't care if it's a boy dog or girl dog. It's going to be Shelby.
I got Elio.
Oh, that's good.
That's my grandson. It's not a dog. So.
Oh, well, that's good too.
I suggested that name. I wanted Ayrton, but all the family keeps saying no. My wife, my ex-wife, my everybody, daughters.
So you talked him into Elio?
Elio.
Is that because of Dancing with the Stars?
No, no, it's Elio. Not Castro. Not him.
Oh no.
Elio. From F1 days in the 80s. About the Ayrton Senna days.
Okay.
Darn it, I forget his name now. It'll come back like during commercial. Well, his brother's name is Enzo.
Oh,
so,
even better.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love
it.
So.
Yeah, he's a good boy. He hangs out at the shop all day. all day long.
Do you have siblings?
No, I'm an only child.
The only
I'm
child?
the son and the daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm the son and the daughter.
I get that. I get that completely. That's so good. This has been awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's really been awesome.
We're gonna have to do more, and keep us up with whatever your racing exploits are, and now you're a member of the family on the show, so you're welcome back anytime. All right.
Well, thank you.
Cool. Anything else, Bill, before we get out of here?
No, just a nap.
Just a nap. Yeah, you've been on the road a long time here. All right, that's gonna do it. Kimmie, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was a great time being on here. Hope to do it again.
All right. When we come back, we're going to take a quick peek here at what's coming up with the upcoming race at the Ozarks, the national championship at the Ozarks. We'll give you a little update on what's going on there. We'll do that when we come back on Inside ChampCar.
Inside ChampCar is a podcast that takes a deep dive into all things going on with the ChampCar Endurance Series. Hosted by veteran journalist, radio host, and racer Brian Bielanski and ChampCar's very own Bill Strong, we talk to drivers, team bosses, tech gurus, and series supporters. Episodes air every week in time for you to listen on your way to the track. Inside ChampCar is on the Racing Wire Podcast Network, found on Apple, Spotify, Google, and most popular podcasting apps.
All right, we are back. It is Inside ChampCar. I'm Brian Bielanski. He's Bill Strong. Kimmie is just a ton of fun, and the knowledge, and
we have to have her on again because there's a lot there we didn't hear. Even get her dad on there, man. She's I like the old stories. I like to hear those. And when she said old stories, I think it's like the 90s.
I don't think it's the 90s.
It might 80s maybe, but still, it's the second golden era of racing, maybe. It'll be fun.
I understand it when we get people on who are young enough to make you feel old, but when they're young enough to make me feel old, that's wow. Old, inadequate, underachiever. All those things were going through my head.
I just wish that ChampCar was around in the 70s, or I was old enough in the 70s to actually get started, or actually know what it took to get started in racing, because I didn't.
There you go. All right, we got a few minutes here. Ozarks, the national championships at the Ozarks, or in the Ozarks. What do we know? What do we need to know?
Well, Gravois Mill, I don't even know how to say it. Gravois Mill, Missouri. I know how to say that one.
Missouri. Yeah.
There's no A at the end.
Exactly.
But we're going to say that the whole time. We head out there next week. Is it next week? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out where I am now. But we head out there on Thursday, April 28th for our board of directors meeting. The gates open up that weekend for folks to move in for the test day, which we want everybody to do. Some NASA folks went there last week and actually called us up and spoke to us and said, hey, this is what's going to happen, and this is what we really suggest you guys do, which is basically do the test day.
Yep.
It's going to take you a while to understand the track, the elevation changes, which is basically straight up and down and sideways, left and right, and it's going to take a lot to learn. And do the track day. We cannot stress that enough.
Cool.
And we are going to give you all day. The drivers meeting starts at 8:30 on Friday, and we run until 4 p.m. That should be enough to get everybody in the car. You should at least have an hour each in the car, hopefully, and learn that track. And but they said the track was amazing, and they gave us some hints on our side of it, and then also on the racer side.
Cool.
Remember, there are quiet hours at the track. Please download supplementals at champcar.org/register supplemental rules. Blah, blah. Just follow the link to the events, and you can download them. Flagtronics will be available. Lights aren't required for this event, but it is kind of good idea to have them on the car in case of inclement weather. Plus, they're going to be concentrating on, finding each corner. This could also let them know that you're behind them or trying to get around them too. I don't know how this is going to work, but remember, no drinking an hour after the race ends. No drinking up to an hour after impound. I don't have that in the subs, but it is in our contract. Mufflers are required as always. We still have some information we're still trying to get, but the subs will probably be updated sometime next week or this week. We have some new maps up, elevation changes, some parking lot maps and corner maps. But yep, download all that stuff. Everything you need to know is in there, except for the parts that we don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I, like any first time event for any organization at any track, I think that being adaptable and all of that are probably going to be the words of the weekend. And
yes,
and just understand that it's new for everybody and everything. Everybody will be happy at the end.
And I do recommend something that I don't think we really talked about it in the subs, but as with any racetrack that you go to that has just done a repave, please bring pieces of plywood that squares of plywood to put under your jack stands. Bring, for your motor homes, your trailers, to spread the load and not mess up their blacktop. I don't want us to, or any of us want us to be known as the guys that tore up their paddock. If you spill something, get it wiped up immediately. If you can't find, we'll get a hold of safety. We get them over there to help clean it up. But let's not tear up their track. We have a pretty good reputation at most tracks, and at all tracks, I should say, most of them. And we want to keep it that way. But yeah, just do that. We have 67 cars registered. We're expecting a few more. That's still a heck of a lot of cars. I think our limit was 70 at that track. It might have been 75, but we're pretty darn close. We had a few drop out, mainly because, it's expensive to head out that way right now in this world, but they're going.
Yep.
So
awesome. All right. Anything else?
No, probably not. I'll be releasing, I think I said this last week that I was going to release the financial reports for ChampCar. They'll go out tomorrow for sure. I've just been really busy. Tomorrow I'm going to mow and then I'll release them.
Great.
So yeah,
fantastic. I'm sure people are waiting.
All right, I'm done boring everybody. It's back to you.
All right, that's going to do it for another episode of Inside ChampCar. If you like what you heard, subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any episode. Also, share it with your friends on social media. Share it with people who aren't your friends on social media. That's how we get more listeners. You can comment on the ChampCar Facebook page, especially if it's a good one. If not, it's Bill Strong. You can put it right on his page. We have a new podcast every week. He's Bill Strong. I'm Brian Bielanski. This is Inside ChampCar on the Racing Wire podcast.